You can't let someone else dictate how you are going to be perceived. You dictate how you're going to be perceived. When you think that you are going to be perceived as flawed, you think you are flawed. That's the thing. You want to stop that vicious cycle, because the vicious cycle is really all you manifesting it. You're choosing it, you're creating it with your own assumptions about yourself, and then they are just the mirror. It all boils down to you breaking that vicious cycle. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Undesirable and I'm a manifestation and soul realignment coach. My channel is geared towards helping you become your highest potential so that you can create and live the extraordinary life that is your birthright. In today's video, I'll be talking about how only you can break that vicious cycle. But before we get started, just a quick reminder that I offer both email and video coaching. So if you need help in manifesting any of your desires or in releasing any of your blocks, you definitely want to check out all my coaching options. They are in the description below. And I'd like to invite you to subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon if you'd like to receive a notification anytime I upload a new video. So today's video is inspired by a comment I received on a video that I filmed last week about how ignoring does not mean accepting. And the question that came in was actually very important because it explains how we are also often judging ourselves as we are working on manifesting a different outcome and ignoring circumstances in the process. So the question is as follows. So we are ignoring, not accepting whatever bad behavior, except abuse of course, from a specific person until the new version of us cements in and 3D catches up. I get that. But when we ignore SP's bad behavior, it's hard not to think that they won't respect us for seemingly not respecting ourselves. I know that's kind of nuanced because identity Y obviously includes being respected, but their opinion during the lag is what I'm bothered by. But also because we decide how they feel about any given thing, but that should be part of this discussion, no? Once we fully move into why, do they just forget that beforehand they were thinking, oh wow, I can act like a complete and this girl just keeps taking it and taking it? Or does that only happen if we decide that? Okay, so to answer that question, let's go back to the identity chart. Identity X represents the person who does not have their desire. It's the identity of the person who sees themselves, very important, sees or assumes themselves to be flawed in some way. So for example, I am not loved, chosen, and pursued. I am not respected. So it's all reflective of what you are assuming about yourself. It's a flawed view of self. That's X. X, always what we don't want. Y is the one who has great assumptions about self. It's the one who has empowered assumptions about self. It's the one who has the identity of the person who has their desire in full. So it is, I'm perfect exactly as I am. I'm loved, chosen, and pursued. I am respected. All of that is why. Now, when you are experiencing any form of undesired behavior, bad behavior from a specific person, and when we say bad, we're not talking abuse, obviously abuse, withdraw from that. We're talking about less than ideal behavior, not getting exactly what we want. You know, when you're experiencing more than that, I highly recommend you withdraw from the relationship. In the end, do what you feel you want to do. That's very important. But sometimes, even when you manifest them back, you may experience some less than ideal behaviors. You want to navigate through that. You want to stop that vicious cycle, because the vicious cycle is really all you manifesting it. You're choosing it, you're creating it with your own assumptions about yourself, and then they are just the mirror. So in the end, you have to break that cycle. And so that's what we're talking about here, is we want to break that cycle. So going back into this, when you are experiencing hot and cold behavior, the first and foremost thing I want you to understand is they are not experiencing that hot and cold behavior. They're not perceiving that they're giving you hot and cold behavior, because the hot behavior is that version of them that's mirroring Y, and the cold behavior is the version of them that is mirroring X. They don't perceive that back and forth. They're two different versions of the person. They're not the same person. So when they're in Y, they're never gonna remember how they were in X. You remember, they don't remember. And with time, you'll also forget. Once you shift into Y, you'll forget that that even existed with time, once you cement that identity. So that's the first thing, they're not gonna remember. The second thing is version X or identity X is being mirrored in 3D, including you assuming that you're taking from them and they are perceiving you to be lacking respect. That's also your assumption. You're still choosing X with that, rather than say, they are not perceiving what I'm perceiving. Everything in 3D is neutral. Literally, every circumstance is neutral. You're the one who gives it meaning. You're the one who gives it meaning. So let's say you're dating and they cancel at the last minute. For example, maybe something happened with them and they had to cancel. They're not thinking that you're spending your whole time thinking about them and your whole life revolves around them. They expect that you're actually living your own life and have your own things. And, if they can't meet up with you, they're sure you have a million other things to do. That's how they could be perceiving it. You're the one who's putting that meaning. You're the one who knows that you're putting your life on hold for them and assuming that they know that in the end. So ultimately, this is just an example. Everything stems from you. Everything literally stems from you. You're giving meaning to things. And so then that's keeping you in X. That's still keeping you in X, choosing X. And so guess what? That hot and cold behavior is going to continue until you decide that I'm going to stop giving negative meanings to everything, because I'm going to stop choosing being that person who's not loved, chosen, and pursued, or flawed. I'm going to stop choosing that I am being perceived as someone who is flawed, because when you think that, you think that. When you think that you are going to be perceived as flawed, you think you are flawed. That's the thing. Because when you don't think that of yourself, you never care what anyone says. I'll give you a very simple example. A few weeks ago, I posted a video about a technique by Abraham Hicks. And it was two different videos. And on both circumstances, now irrelevant why I manifested that, but in two different circumstances, I got bad comments on it. One person said, you just lost all credibility for bringing up Abraham Hicks. And the second one said something to the effect, well, they're hardly a credible source. I would not quote them. Both times, not once did I think I was lacking credibility. Not once did I give it importance, because I know what I bring to the table. I don't care what anybody thinks. My self-concept is not dependent on what someone thinks or assumes. So in the end, even if someone outright says something to you that, is not nice or whatever, you're the one who gives it truth or does not give it truth. When you're rock solid, you don't care. I'm like, okay, whatever. So in the end, you have to remember that you're the one who gives things truth. You hold it as true. Obviously, I'm not telling you to manifest that, but in the end, this is really the key. When you don't care what people think because you know who you are, that's when you hold why, and you will never actually manifest that, right? You will stop manifesting the hot and cold, but you have to hold it first. You can't let someone else dictate how you are gonna be perceived. You dictate how you're gonna be perceived. And even if they say something to you that you don't believe is true about yourself, you're never gonna care. So this is very important. The last thing, I think I already mentioned it, the hot and cold is you perceiving it. They don't perceive that. Yeah, I already mentioned that. So that hot and cold is you shifting between versions of SP because you're shifting. You're shifting between X and Y. And so you're seeing a mirror of that. They don't perceive it. It's like revising. Remember that video I posted about the subscriber who revised her husband's accident? Her husband doesn't perceive that there was an accident. She never even talks to him about it. The people in their life stop talking about it. So they don't have a recollection. She has it, and it was even becoming foggy. Every manifesting is that way. Every manifestation is revision. Every manifestation is revision. When you move into Y, the people will not remember the X. Never happened because it's a different version of them. So again, it all boils down to you breaking that vicious cycle. It's all you. You're creating it all, and they are just the mirror. And when you assume that they're gonna disrespect you or think that you take anything, it's also from you. You're assuming that about yourself. So break that cycle. No one has control over your reality or your manifestation except you. I hope you liked this video. If you did, then please like, comment, and share. And I look forward to seeing you again in the next video.